All right, everybody. Welcome to Moz Sports. My name is Andy Robertson, and I'm joined by Spencer Griffin and the Emmy Award-winning Mauricio Beltran Hernandez. What's going on, guys?
Sorry.
How you doing?
Oh, just hanging out.
I feel you.
Well, I guess this is podcast number 1 for us, so we'll see how this goes and see if we can make it into a lengthier thing.
Hey, that'd be nice, and maybe I can get some better equipment, better little setup right here. It's pretty rough looking.
Hey, whatever works. You sound good though. So I guess we can hit on into it. We're just coming off the Super Bowl. In the off season now. I guess the first question is, Spencer, you're a Ravens fan. Mauricio, you're a Rams fan. What do you guys want to see your teams do this off season?
Mauricio already accomplished all of it, so he wants to see his team just stick together. I know he does, and you can expect my answer to have the Ravens be healthy, because good Lord, last season was rough. I mean, it started off a little hopeful, but then J.K. Dobbins went down, and then you had Gus Edwards and I'm losing his name,
Marcus Peters,
D-back. Yeah, Marcus Peters. That was all in one day, so it was sad times for the Ravens. But then they came out hot and ended up winning a few games, gave me some false hope. Then they had a few more injuries, and of course Lamar got injured. That's never going to end up good. So yeah, I'd like to see them not have 17 players on the IR at once. That'd be nice. And then of course I would, and I think I'm with a lot of the fan base here, I think bringing in a new offensive coordinator would be super nice. Greg Roman, I think he's kind of run his course there. The first year with Lamar, he had a system that worked until everybody figured it out the next year. But Greg Roman seemed to stick with that, so he's not adapting too well. But I mean, it could be worse. I mean, we could have worse offensive coordinators. And then, of course, we did get rid of the defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale. Brought in the DC from the University of Michigan. So Harbaugh showing some brotherly love, sending us a defensive-minded guy our way. Then also got rid of Rob Ryan as a linebackers coach, which I'm not sure how he's still coaching in the league, but we got him off our back. So, like every year we could use some receiving help, some O-line help, but I think for the most part it's all going to be about being healthy, and then if they're healthy, they can make a deep run, but it's a matter of staying healthy. So I think that's going to be the main thing. What about you guys? I know Mauricio is going to want to see Darnold and Stafford back.
Yes, it seems like everybody's like gonna retire or something. They keep saying like, "Oh, Sean McVay's gonna retire. Aaron Donald's thinking about retiring," and then Odell Beckham tore his ACL again, and then the coordinators are leaving for head coaching jobs.
Yeah, I think that's the life with Sean McVay, right?
Yeah, it's like, so it's gonna be like hard to bring, get that group together and even try to get to the playoffs next year, because there's just a lot of change.
Do you think that talk about Sean Payton or
Sean McVay?
Yeah, Sean McVay retiring was real, or you think that was all just clickbait?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, he's way too young. They're like, hey, I'm gonna call it quits after one Super Bowl. That's it. Like. What else is he gonna do? Like,
yeah. How old's Darnold? Do either of you guys? Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, I think he's like 32.
Yeah, he's on the younger side of.
Yeah, he's only played 8 years.
I didn't think he was too old. So when I heard the talk about him retiring, I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, he's still really young. He's, I was like. I didn't even know he was thinking about it.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere for me too.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like,
Aaron Donald is 3 months older than me, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 30 years old.
You guys grew up together, right?
Yep.
And what about you being a Chiefs fan? What do you want to see your team do? Because I know they had high hopes going into the season. I thought they were going to win the Super
Everything.
Bowl to start the season, but man, I was really surprised to see them fall.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird season, because they started out with the Browns in that close game, and then fell to the Ravens the next week, and I think they had the Bills, and it was just, I mean, it was a gauntlet of a schedule, to be honest, for a while. I mean, they had the AFC or the NFC East teams, so you had the weaker Giants and the I almost said name redacted. They had
the Commanders.
the Commanders, the Commies on their schedule. But it was kind of a weird season of, the offense wasn't working right for a stretch, the defense wasn't working right. Bring in Melvin Ingram, the defense seemed dominant, and then the offense picked it up. And then toward the end of the season, I think the defense started slipping a little bit more, which kind of ties into, I think, Daniel Sorensen, Ben Neiman, Anthony Hitchens. I think those guys have got to get out of there. Oof. And I'm kind of the opposite of you, Spencer. I want the Chiefs to go out and find probably a better DC than Steve Spagnuolo.
I thought you meant opposite of me, as you want him to get hurt. I was like,
no.
I don't think you want that. You're welcome for Orlando Brown, by the way.
But there is some cap issues right now. I think they have roughly $3 million, maybe a little bit under that. Orlando Brown, left tackle, is supposed to be a free agent. Tyrann Mathieu and Melvin Ingram are all up for free agency. I think Orlando Brown's going to be back maybe on the franchise tag. I think Matthew's got to come back in some way. And I'd love for Melvin Ingram to come back, because that defense really turning around. I've seen where they can create about $55 million in cap space by, restructuring Mahomes, maybe cutting Hitchens or Frank Clark or something like that. So I think the biggest needs are to find a complementary weapon on offense for Hill and Kelsey, so they can open the field a little bit more. And then,
you don't think they have enough weapons?
Well, Byron Pringle's a free agent, and then Mecole Hardman. I mean, he just didn't seem like he was that great this year. And then they signed Josh Gordon, and he was a phantom for most of the season. So
yeah, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire still, though.
Yeah, and Darrell Williams was a 1,000-yard all-purpose kind of guy. So I mean, there are things there, but I think another weapon would help the offense a little bit. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but Chris Lammons, one of the exclusive right free agents for the Chiefs, he's a corner. He admitted to being with Alvin Kamara during that assault battery situation. So I imagine Chiefs will probably be looking at some corners too. So
geez, yeah, the Chiefs, I agree. I think they need a lot of help in coverage. You mentioned especially Sorensen in particular. I mean, I know everybody's on the Eli Apple hate train right now, but Sorensen looks rough sometimes out there.
How has he been playing, like, up to this point? Like, how do you get to the point where you have to have this BYU guy playing in the backfield?
Well, it was frustrating because at the beginning of the season, it was like, oh, we're going to keep sending Sorensen out there, but we're not going to play Juan Thornhill. And then finally, once they started playing Juan Thornhill, they started getting some better coverage back there. So it was just a little frustrating. But I also will say, like, I think Eric Bieniemy's status is up in the air right now because supposedly he's a free agent. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was something that came out that him and Pat Mahomes weren't getting along. But I've heard that that's kind of ridiculous stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation floating around with the Chiefs news, because I also saw where somebody said that Mahomes said that Jackson and Brittany have to stay away from the games. And I was like, come on now, we know this.
Yeah.
I think it's just like there's a lot of stuff going on off the field too for them that it's just like maybe distracting them from what they're supposed to do on the field. And then you had the defense, like when the offense doesn't show up, the defense, can hold back for everything, like in the Bengals game.
Yeah. Well, I think Willie Gay got arrested right before the Bengals game, so that wasn't good. I mean, I think he played, but that wasn't. I mean,
and then
a distraction.
Wasn't there a coach's son was in some legal troubles as well?
Oh, Andy Reid's son.
Oh, that was before last year, but yeah,
he's still dealing with all that. Yeah.
I think the Reid family agreed to pay stuff for it though. So I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, I think a lot of stuff kicks off in March, so we'll get free agency.
Yeah.
Get to see where Aaron Rodgers is going, if he's going to stay in Green Bay or go somewhere else.
Yeah, I know we just brought up the Bengals. So what do you guys think? You guys think any teams can kind of make a surprisingly deep run like the Bengals did this year?
I think the Chargers could. They've been showing like they're almost there. Like this year, if that coach wouldn't call timeout, they would have been in the playoffs. But no, he had to call timeout and
And go
ruined it.
for it
But
on fourth down every time.
yeah,
I definitely forgot about that. Yeah, for some reason I just overlooked the Chargers.
yeah,
Good answer.
they're getting really good. They're gonna be a threat for sure.
Justin Herbert is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like, he's in that up and coming class of quarterbacks that are just going to take over the league.
it's for me. It was hard to trust him coming out of Oregon because you know you have like all this history of Oregon quarterbacks, Joey Harrington.
That's true.
You're like these, and you know like I can't trust this guy to lead my team. But then he showed up, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
he knows how to play.
it was good. I mean, that'd be a great guy to have the face of your franchise. I mean, he seems like such a wholesome dude, and he's real nice, real likable. He's really easy to build marketing packages around, it looks like.
Well, I'm going to stick in the AFC West because I think you guys might think I'm crazy, but I've been saying it to my dad. I've been saying it to everybody who would listen. I think the Broncos are like a quarterback away from being really good.
I do think you're crazy.
Well,
I think because I think you got to put a lot of eggs in that basket because you're right. I mean, it's all like they have to get that quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
If they don't, it's not happening.
Right. But I mean, look, AFC West was, I mean, apart from the NFC West, that's probably the toughest division in football this year. Pro Football Focus ranked the Broncos defense 5th overall out of the entire league. That was after, I mean, even with trading Von Miller. They've got picks. They've got a good running game. I think their wide receivers were let down by some bad quarterback play. You know, they got Nathaniel Hackett, so maybe the hope there is to lure Rodgers to Denver.
I think they're hoping in general that Rodgers isn't in the division anymore.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's something about the Broncos. I just think they're a quarterback away from being a really good team.
That's fair enough. Yeah, and you brought up their defense. I mean, that rookie D-back Patrick Surtain II.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only going to get better. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, my answer sticks kind of with the defensive side too. Well, first of all, I'll say I think the Bengals could do it again because they're super young and. Depending on what source you use, they have the 3rd or 4th highest cap space in the league right now behind the Dolphins and Jaguars. So they definitely got some money to play around with. Definitely need to grab some offensive line help. We could see that with Joe Burrow's last 2 games. I want to say he got sacked 9 or 10 times one game and then maybe close to that in the next. But if I'm not allowed to say the Bengals, I will say the Chicago Bears.
I don't know about that
one. Well, see, I think they've got a good defense, like you said about the Broncos. A lot of this is going to depend on how Justin Fields progresses. So they just got a new head coach in. They're 11th in cap space, so they might be able to surround him with a little bit of talent. But I think if this new coach can really steer Fields and the offense in the right direction, then they could surprise some people. And then I'll also give some honorable mention, unfortunately, to the Steelers. I think they could do good too, but we know I don't like them. So
I think what might help the Bears the most is if Rodgers does leave Green Bay, because I mean the Vikings are a solid team, but the Lions. I mean Dan Campbell, I think he's a really solid coach. He doesn't have talent there. And then, I mean, Chicago, they can make it. They just need better head coaching.
I did consider the Vikings, but their cap space situation is pretty bad. And Cousins is not taking a pay cut, so I'm not sure.
That's such a ridiculous contract.
I mean, I don't blame him. I don't blame the guy. I wouldn't take a pay cut either.
Because he's not going to make that anywhere else.
Yeah.
If they cut him, would they have to give him a lot of money?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the $45 million or whatever he's on tap for now, but I'm sure it's a huge chunk of change that they're gonna have to
Yeah,
pay.
and you're paying a guy that's not on the team and can't contribute.
Mm. How do you even get in those situations? You know, you're like, hey, how does that even sound like a good deal when you first do it? You're like, you know what? Let's
They-
give him this huge contract.
I think
Someone
they
fell in love
assume-
with you like that.
I was thinking that too. I think too, like a lot of times people expect like you're gonna pay these quarterbacks to be really highly paid dudes to start out their contract, but then a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, the contract looks a lot better because all these other quarterbacks jump ahead and are making even more. But yeah, Cousins just making so much money.
Either of you guys wanted to pick the Saints?
Ooh,
Their cap situation is the worst.
Yep. I was reading something the other day that their head coach has never won 4 games in a season. So I don't know why they went with him, but
Wow, I did not know that.
yeah,
yeah.
they're ready for a rebuild, I guess.
Michael Thomas won't play for him.
Oh,
Kamara's in
Kamara,
legal trouble.
Yeah.
The Tyson Hill guy and his crazy contract too.
Yeah.
Ian Book
they
about to
tried
play quarterback the whole time.
Yeah, forcing him to play quarterback. I wish Jameis wouldn't have got hurt because I would have been really interested to see how far he could have took him. Because I think LASIK Jameis, I think he's got it going on.
Yeah, he was playing really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yep. Yep. And they dominated the Packers that first game of the season. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Crazy.
And they beat Tom Brady
Yep. Twice.
twice.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Somehow.
Not many people can say that.
Yep. Yep. Well, Spencer, you when preparing for this, you brought up this question, like what team will do what the Rams do and kind of go all in? What teams do you guys think are on board for this?
And you're not allowed to pick the Rams again because they're already all in still.
Yep. No picks for
think-
40 years.
I think the 49ers.
Okay.
They're close. They're even with like the holes they have in offense and defense, they somehow make it work every year. And it's just like some pieces here and there they're missing, and they're back, back in the Super Bowl again.
They did surprise me a lot this year.
Yeah.
You think Trey Lance can get them there?
Oh yeah, I think so. Because the defense is really good.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because you saw this year, they didn't even need that offense to get to the NFC Championship.
Oh
Got a good
yeah,
running
they
game too.
They pretty much kicked their field goals
Mm-hmm.
on
Like
their
that
way.
punt, and they were in the NFC Championship game. Took care of
Hmm.
Rodgers like that.
I'm gonna be honest. I came up with this question. I didn't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody that's in that unique of a situation though to have that many picks and already be that established. I mean, because I don't know. The Rams were, like I said, they were in a really unique situation with already being contenders and then using their draft capital to extend that even further. I don't know if anybody can replicate that.
Yeah, but it was like what the Rams made it to the Super Bowl a few years ago with Goff at quarterback,
Mhm.
and then so I mean, yeah, they were in prime position. I honestly struggled a lot with this question too, just because I think it's easier to answer what up and coming team is going to be there instead of a team that will expend their draft capital, whatever that
Yeah.
Honestly, this might be an easy answer. I don't know if my dad will agree with me. He's a huge Cowboys fan, but I think I'm going to have to pick the Dallas Cowboys. I know they're in some cap issues right now, but I just think Jerry Jones is probably, he's now been, the Cowboys have now been surpassed by the Patriots and Steelers for Super Bowl wins, and I just think the Cowboys had a really good season. Maybe they played a bit over their heads because they couldn't beat any team outside of the NFC East. But I mean, if they get a kicker that doesn't miss field goals as much as Greg Zuerlein,
Yeah.
and then
Greg the Leg.
Yep, that dude was awful.
Well, he's not Greg the Leg anymore.
No,
I like that answer though. I think you're right. I think the Cowboys could be on this.
I mean, Micah Parsons was really good. They're about to lose Randall Gregory, probably.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day that they might bring Michael Gallup back, but he's got a torn ACL, so I don't know how much help he's going to be. But I don't know. I just feel like if there were a team to do that, it would be the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. How is how's Elliott's contract looking? Because I know Pollard played out of his mind last year, so it made me wonder if they would consider moving on from Elliott if he's on an expiring or not. With Pollard taking up a lot of that load, because I mean Pollard, I think he outperformed him personally, but Elliott may have been a little banged up, but that could make the decision easier if you want to take on Elliott's huge contract or get rid of that and bring in some other help.
Yeah. I think the call was to use Pollard a lot more, and Kellen Moore just didn't do that.
Yeah,
but what kind of surprised me is Elliott still rushed for 1,000 yards. Somehow.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, somehow he did. I don't know. Ooh, he's under contract till 2026. So
okay, yeah, they're not moving on from that.
No, he's gonna make $16.6 million. He'll be a cap casualty one of these days.
Yeah, they're gonna end up having to pay CD Lamb too. So
yeah,
it may be a little tougher than they think, but
yeah,
they should just trade him right now. Cut their loss.
Who?
Just Elliott.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant CD. I was like,
no. Elliott, like they're like always saying that a running back's not worth extending that for after the rookie contract, because by that time they're already worn out. So. And they clearly found somebody that can take his spot, and they can just either bring somebody young in or draft somebody and, replicate, because that's a lot of money for a running back.
What a crazy dynamic shift too. You're right. Like, because it used to be, I mean, running backs were fantastic to have. I mean, they're still good. Obviously, you still want a good run game. You still want a good running back, but it's like, I don't know. It's like you said, they just get run down so easy. A lot of teams are either doing running back by committee, or they're bringing in younger guys, or finding ways to not have to take on that huge contract for a running back. But yeah, I mean, it's so different from the Barry Sanders, Walter Payton,
back in the day,
Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, those contracts were understandable back then. Every team had a fullback. Everybody have team had like a good running back, but nowadays even fullbacks are like hard to find. Like I never see a fullback.
The Ravens and the 49ers, they still use them, but in fact they still use
Chiefs do too.
49ers using the backup that Ravens had. But I'm all about the fullback.
Well, I guess we can move on. The USFL is about to restart, I guess you can say. They're about to have their draft on the 22nd. So they released uniforms for the teams this Thursday, I think it was. Thursday. There's a lot of red there. A lot of red, like
I didn't even notice that. You brought that up
yeah,
podcast, and I did not notice that one bit.
Yeah, there are. I mean, the gamblers have more of a. Let's see if I can share this screen real quick.
Yeah, and I know there's another one you mentioned that I'm gonna have to see when you bring this up, because I'm not sure I noticed red in it. The Breakers, they do have red?
No, the Breakers do not have red. They
okay. I misunderstood that.
Yeah, I don't know.
In orange.
Can you guys see this?
We cannot currently.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I see why. Okay.
Make sure you hide all those private tabs.
Yep. Okay. Now, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, there's four of the teams have red, and then the gamblers have it red. And I guess the Panthers have a shade of red.
Yeah.
But
good. There's some ugly uniforms in that bunch.
Yeah.
I know. I was writing notes on them, and I think the majority of them I came across I didn't like. The Birmingham Stallions, of course, that's that maroon and gold. That's basically a Florida State copy, which, I mean, Florida State, they look fine, but I thought you'd want something a little more original. The Maulers right next to them in the blue and orange, that's just the New York Islanders jersey in football. Tampa Bay Bandits, they probably had the coolest logo and mascot, but man, I thought they really fell short on the uniforms. You brought up the Gamblers, Andy, and gosh, those are rough.
Yep.
I think my favorites, well, I can go ahead and mention the New Jersey Generals. They just remind me of the Nationals, and I don't like the stars on the shoulder personally. But my favorites are the Michigan Panthers, which I mean, it could be better, but considering all the others, I think they did a better job than the other teams. And then my personal favorite is, and I'm sure you guys are going to disagree with this, is the New Orleans Breakers. I think those are dope and just really unique. I like that little wave on the shoulder. It's not huge and too distracting, I don't think. And I think the different shades of blue and white really go well together on the helmet too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, their away uniform looks really nice
Mhm.
for the Breakers.
Yeah, I just thought that one looked the cleanest to me.
Yeah, honestly, I don't love the uniforms.
Yeah,
all of them kind of don't look great to me. The Marauders, is that what it? The Maulers,
Maulers. Yeah,
they look like an AFL team to me. Do they not?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one's probably the weirdest.
Yeah, and then I think you mentioned the Generals look like practice uniforms. I think that, or the Gamblers.
Yeah,
I think that does too. And then
go back to the away again. I want to just kind of get a little okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I don't love any of these uniforms. I don't know that I'd go out and buy one if someone was like, "Here, go buy some USFL gear." I don't think
I'd Chiefs light over there.
I think I put this in our notes. I don't like the execution of it. I think it doesn't look that great, and I know that sounds weird coming from being a Chiefs fan. I mean, we've got this Mahomes jersey over here.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I can get down with it, and I kind of like their retro looking logo too. I think that's clean compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna compare the color schemes because I know the Maulers have purple and orange, which you're a Suns fan. They have purple and orange too. So I mean, maybe you can get behind that whole.
Is that purple?
I think it's purple. It looks a little blue here, but I think it's purple.
Oh yeah, purple and orange.
But
you can't just slap two colors together like that.
No,
that make it look good.
I think the most unique to me is the Michigan Panthers because that's just a weird color scheme all around.
Yeah,
it is different. I think it works though.
Yeah.
Is there Panthers in Michigan? What's up with that thinking?
Mauricio's questioning the validity of the mascot in the state. I love it.
They do have Wolverines too, so I don't know, Mauricio. Do they have casinos in Houston?
Are there gamblers in Houston?
There is illegal gambling. We're always uncovering hitting casinos in a gas station in Houston. So I'm not even surprised anymore.
That sounds like
they did that here too.
Yeah,
I saw them. They busted a few here, but most people just let them get away with it.
I was gonna. Have you been to Shooters on Spencer?
No, I saw that too, and that seems a little sketchy to skirt around the law. I don't know how they're doing it.
Katrina.
Why did you uncover something?
No, but we've been in there a couple times for breakfast. Katrina likes it. I'm not a fan.
Right? They have breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast.
No way.
And
I would have
going in there at 8:00 and people are over there playing on some slots. It's kind of weird.
So let's talk a little bit too about the draft from the USFL, because I tried to look at some of the possible players, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not recognize a ton of them. I saw there were, I think, two that stood out to me, and that was CJ Marable, the running back out of Coastal Carolina. He was there for a good stint. He looked good. I mean, he was recently on the Bears, undrafted free agent. Last season at Coastal Carolina was 2020, where he had 887 rushing yards, 228 receiving yards. So over 1,000 all-purpose and 19 total TDs. A little better as far as the rushing yards went in 2019. He had 1,085 rush yards, 295 receiving yards, and 14 total TDs. Recent combines 2021 ran a 4.5940, little on the slower end, I guess, maybe for a running back. He did have a 36-inch vertical. And then the other guy I noticed was Last Chance U star DeAndre Johnson out of QB out of East Mississippi Community College, featured on, like I said, Last Chance U on
Buddy
Netflix.
Stevens.
Yup. And so fans should at least be familiar with that name. So it kind of helps as far as marketing and watchability goes to at least know somebody. He's 6'2", 205. Last season had a little over 2,600 passing yards for 26 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions on 60.6% completion, which, I mean, you're going against junior college talent, so it's kind of hard to see how that's going to translate, but at least fans will know his name. And then I think I'm more impressed with the coaching names than anything that I saw out of this group, because Jeff Fisher, Larry Fedora, Skip Holtz, Kevin Sumlin, and then the guy I think will have the most success personally is Todd Haley for the Tampa Bay Bandits, because he was behind the offense that led the Cardinals to the Super Bowl. So I think I have the highest hopes for him in the league. Andy, I think you saw a few names on the player list, maybe one that I didn't notice. I was surprised you found that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't really recognize anybody. I did see DeAndre Johnson. I mean, a couple other guys kind of stuck with me, but I think the one guy that kind of really rang out, like especially living here in Arkansas, is Devwah Whaley. U of A fans will recognize him. He was a part of the Chad Morris years, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so we all shudder.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if he'll get picked up. Draft. I think they're drafting 350 players or something like that. So maybe maybe he'll get a chance and maybe show out and work his way back to the NFL or something. I don't know.
He wasn't on the list I saw, so I was surprised when I saw that. But I agree. I think he'd be a huge pickup.
Yeah, I think there's not like a consensus list of participants. Yeah. It's just kind of all over the place. So
maybe we can enter our names.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that anybody that graduated from high school in 2020 can also 2020 onwards can and be in the league. So
bring on Bishop Sycamore.
If you're older than that, you can't be in the league.
No, like I guess starting from if you graduated high school in 2020.
Oh, I see.
So I guess you don't even have to go to college. You could be a really good high school player.
I'm gonna be a punter.
They could draft you.
What was that school we were gonna go switch punting duties for?
Yeah, I can't even remember. Man, I don't know. Still a pipe dream.
Well, it's All-Star Weekend at the NBA right now. Just played their skills competition, or the Rising Stars Challenge last night. I think tonight's the skills dunk contest. Tomorrow's the All-Star game. We're recording this on February 19th. Guess I should mention that. Trade deadline just passed. What teams do you guys think improved the most at the deadline?
Mauricio, I'll let you handle this one first, because I don't want to dominate the conversation, get too long-winded.
The Sixers.
Okay.
For sure. I was surprised when they announced that trade. I was like, oh, they actually made it happen.
I was surprised at it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I was like, oh. And people seem really excited about it in Philadelphia.
Andy, I think that's maybe the team you think won the trade too, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm gonna be honest, I haven't followed NBA like I used to. I'm getting back to where I am following it more, but I think just the easy answer right off the bat, I think I would have to agree that the 76ers, because Ben Simmons hasn't been playing all year. You get James Harden back. You get who else did they get? I forgot. They got somebody else with Harden. I forget. But
I can't remember.
Yeah, but you send off Ben Simmons. You get a guy that's gonna play in Harden, who's still a good scorer, who can possibly be that second guy to Embiid and play off Tobias Harris as well. So I don't know. I think that was a good move for the 76ers. They lost shooting and Seth Curry.
That's a hard one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the hard one. But I think you get James Harden shooting back.
Yeah. Who else they send to Brooklyn?
Andre Drummond.
That's right.
And picks, I think.
So, which honestly, the Nets really needed some down low presence, so that was good for them.
Yeah. So
I think it worked out for everyone.
Yeah, and I know you asked me about the Porzingis deal.
Yeah.
So I don't. This is one where I don't know. You might rip me to shreds, but I don't think it made much sense for the Mavericks to trade Porzingis away for Dinwiddie and Bertans.
Yeah, it does. It's weird. That was a weird one. I think a lot of that had to do, if the rumors are true, with competing styles of play with Porzingis and Doncic. I think there was a little bit of rub there as far as who was getting the ball and what schemes they were running and how they were doing it. Because now, I mean, we've seen since Porzingis has been traded that Doncic has been going off. But, I mean, as the season's progressed, he's gotten more in game shape and has been able to handle a lot more. But he's, like you said, I mean, he's going to have to do it all himself now. So it's a little strange. We'll see if Bertans can revert back to his 40% from beyond the arc. But I'm just not seeing it.
I think something else I saw that the Mavericks might have done that trade to just free up some money to get a second star to go alongside Doncic. But
I know they're trying to get Goran Dragic, but there's a lot of teams competing for him right now. And with the Suns recently having an injury to Chris Paul, we don't know how serious it is, but they might look to get Dragic back. So I don't know. Yeah,
and Bertans is he's making a lot of money to not be very good. So I've
got a lot of thoughts about this trade deadline. I got 4 teams that I really thought did well. I thought Cleveland did well, which I'm surprised to say that they could improve even more. They've been playing fantastic this season, but getting Karis LeVert, giving up just Rubio, they did have to give up a lottery protected pick, gives them a huge boost all around. LeVert averaging.
They did get Rondo though, so.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. He's a good veteran playoff presence because they're going to be in the playoffs and they're going to need that. So, yeah, good point. And then I've got New Orleans, the Pelicans, with getting CJ McCollum, which I thought was really lopsided toward the Pelicans at first, but seeing how well Josh Hart has played for the Trailblazers, really, I guess both teams kind of got what they needed out of the deal. I still can't believe the Blazers did it, but because they've been talking about it for years. Pelicans also got Larry Nance, which is fantastic because they, he's a great role player. So they got CJ McCollum when they desperately needed some scoring, especially when it looks like Zion's probably out for the season and who knows how long. And then I'll say the Pacers, I think, did really, really well. Talking long term, getting Tyrese Halliburton, because that surprised the whole league. Everybody thought it was going to be, well, everybody knew about Buddy Hield, which the Pacers also got, but everybody thought it was going to be Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox going, but it ended up being Halliburton, and they jumped on that opportunity because, I mean, this dude, he averaged 14.3 points per game for the Kings and now 20.8 with the Pacers on where he was shooting 41.3% from three. Now it's up to 45.2, which is insane. But I mean, Sabonis is playing really well for the Kings and it's translated to wins. But when you're talking about a team that's not going to make the playoffs and the whole tanking strategy and stuff, I don't know. I just don't think that was.
They could sneak in as the 10 seed. I'm just kidding.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Halliburton was a future there. He's one of the only players in the NBA that said he wanted to be there. And the front office was like, we don't care. So, And then another one that I like, I know you like too, Andy, was the Boston Celtics. I think it was an underrated trade for them getting Derek White. Had to give up some first round pick swaps, but I think it was worth it because he's a versatile guard that plays real gritty defense. So I think I might be higher on him than a lot of people, but I really like the way his play style fits with the Celtics. And then I want to say they got rid of Schroeder. I don't know if that was in that deal or not.
I think they sent him to the Spurs. I think.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe they didn't.
I mean,
Maybe it was a separate deal. I
I
don't
was
know.
going to say I don't think it was the Spurs, but because the Suns just played against him the other night.
Yeah, I think it was a separate deal. Now that you say that,
But he'll help replace that, and I think Derek White's really solid overall.
yeah. Schroeder went to the Rockets. You can go watch him,
That's right.
Mauricio.
Yeah, you can
watch
go down
Dennis
the street
Schroeder.
and watch the Rockets.
Man, it's like it's gotten so bad in Houston that like even in the news, like in the local news coverage, like they don't even bother with them anymore. Like before, they would actually go when they played here in town, like during the week and stuff. They would actually have a reporter or a photographer actually go to the game and get video and interviews and all that. But it's gotten to the point where it's like so irrelevant for the Rockets that like we'll just get the video, from like whatever channel they were playing on that day, and then
You tell
like
me
they'll do a quick read like, oh yeah, the Rockets played at home tonight. They lost.
people don't want to go see Alfred Sengun and Jason Tate.
Oh my god,
Come on.
it's crazy because when I first got here, like it was Harden and everything was like blasting, and everybody was going to the games and everything, and then that quickly everything just like just imploded.
The Texans were good when you got there too, right?
Yep,
Weren't they? Like,
they played Kansas City in
Yeah.
that playoff game that one year when I first got here.
yeah.
Oh, why don't you go move to LA then? Maybe you can make the Lakers even worse.
Please do.
Right? I don't know, man. Every time I go somewhere like that, it just happens. Everything just like.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, don't go to Chicago.
Yeah, because the Bulls actually are doing something good.
Yep.
Here's another coincidence. When I first moved to Houston, not too long after I moved to Houston, the pandemic started.
Oh,
Okay.
Think about it.
We're blaming that on you.
All this stuff happened, like.
I'm gonna send people with signs outside your house.
But yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know the Bulls were doing that good.
Yeah, they're one of the best in the East. DeMar DeRozan's going off.
I guess in my head, I just have the image of the Bulls and Derrick Rose and his ACL and everything else.
Yeah.
I was
I'm about to cry, Mauricio.
Yeah, Derrick Rose is still a legend in Chicago, but yeah, man, DeRozan. I mean, you start breaking a Wilt Chamberlain record, and that you made it because what do you have? 7 straight games, 35 plus points on 50% shooting is absolutely crazy, and they're doing all this with a lot of injuries, like Patrick Williams. I think Zach LaVine's been out for a little bit.
Yeah,
Lonzo Caruso. You would think that this team would just be falling apart, but man, they're making it work. And I think Kobe White and butcher his last name, but Ayo. I'm just gonna say Ayo. I think they've been picking up the slack a lot. So it's really impressive to see. I don't mind them doing good because they're not in the West, so I can root for them.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Ayo stayed into the second round. He's playing like a first rounder. So
I think the real star is Lonzo Ball for the Bulls.
Well, he's hurt though.
Yeah, he's been out for a while.
But even
when he's in though, they do look good.
I think the real star is DeRozan.
Yeah, but I think Caruso's a big unsung hero there too, because their defense looks absolutely just a whole 180 when he's in the game.
Which I think that was one of the biggest concerns heading into the season because Zach LaVine's not great at defense, and then I think Vucevic kind of gets trashed a little bit for his, but
I forgot about Caruso.
Oh yeah, I was shocked that you guys let him go. I don't know why you didn't call Rob Pelinka and tell him to hang on to him. Y'all wanted Taylor Horton Tucker instead.
Caruso was surprised that he.
Yeah, he's a big deal here in Houston. For Houston, a lot of people their teams either Texas A&M or Texas. So when it's anything with Texas A&M, like it's a big deal. So it's
he goes back too a lot, doesn't he? He goes back to Texas A&M area a lot.
He so they have that Houston or like sports gala every year here in town when we have to go cover it. And like you see a lot of those people like back every year, like for all these events, and like that's one of the persons you see.
You spoke to him?
No, but I've taken video and stuff with them. I've interviewed I interviewed a Texas A&M coach.
This is why you won the Emmy. We got the inside track on everything happening in Houston. you just somehow you make your way into these circles. And
Who's,
you're
who's, the,
interviewing Texas A&M's head coach.
who's the coolest guy you've interviewed, Mauricio? Like, who's the biggest, most
know it's
recognizable
Beto.
name?
What's the name of that guy from the Astros?
Oh,
the really
Correa?
short guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Altuve.
yeah. Remember when I had to cover the?
Did he have a buzzer on him?
I was gonna ask.
Was it a tattoo or a buzzer?
No, but it is true about the banging, dude. I did because I was covering that championship game against the Yankees here in Houston, and Minute Maid, and I did hear a lot. I did hear that banging, and I just thought it was.
Wow.
I thought it was the bleachers. You know when you stomp on the bleachers,
Mm.
and then obviously later on, like I think the next year's when all that stuff came out, and I was like, oh, okay, it's all starting to connect, you know.
Yep, it was Mauricio.
Yep, he blew the whistle on all of that. What are your thoughts on Minute Maid? I've been there before, and
I have too.
It's nice. It's so huge though. It's like, and
no, I had the opposite effect. I thought it was like so small. I was shocked.
Really?
Yeah,
I
because
didn't
it's
like
tiny.
It felt.
I didn't mind it. It was okay. It's not my favorite.
It's okay, but I mean, you can kind of tell it's a little, beat up. But I think again too, like every building here in town is beat up just because we get flooded all the time.
Yeah.
And everything starts getting that moldy smell too.
Oh, I didn't
from all the water.
That,
yeah. So but it's okay. It's okay.
Y'all make up for it. Y'all make up for it with some banging food though.
Oh yeah, dude. Yes. Every like the loaded baked potatoes, like every sporting event, like here in town, with like brisket and stuff.
And the tacos, like the taco trucks, I'm sure are just like 10 times better there. Because here we got some foods, but it's not. I hear that Houston and San Antonio is really where it's at.
Yeah, dude. Oh, the like for media events, like whenever we go cover a game or a game at Minute Maid or stuff, they always give you free food for the media.
Oh,
so there's a room in the media box, and it's like a buffet layout, and I'm like, oh.
Andy's laughing because we're getting off track.
Yeah. they do that for us too. We get like nuke sandwiches and stuff at UCA, which I mean, it's fine. It's nice, but
free food is always good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of course.
I have too much of it though. But anyway, yeah, I guess we can get back on here.
We did transition to Major League Baseball.
Yeah, but we had a couple more on NBA. The in-season tournament. I think that's more your thing, Spencer. I have a couple of thoughts, but
I mean, yeah. So from what I've seen, it would shorten the regular season from 82 to 78 games, which not a huge impact, but it would include a purse of $1 million per player for the winning team, which honestly, all I can tell is that there's a financial incentive for the players to be playing. So, and bragging rights, which I mean, with an in-season tournament, they're not going to care. But I think it need to be a little bit more substantial to really have an impact and have the players get behind it. Because I couldn't see max contract players really giving it their all. It would turn into a glorified all-star game, in my opinion. Because like Steph Curry's making upwards of $45 million a year. $1 million isn't going to move the needle for him to get injured. But I mean, my thought is, and if they do this right, they could count those games toward the regular season total, thus having playoff implications. And then it's just like a regular season game, but you've got the tournament kind of tied to it. So I think with that, it could work and could give the NBA some creative and fun opportunities to come up with some trophies and stuff, which I mean, we know they'll bungle that, but it's at least an opportunity for them to do something a little different, a little fun. They're trying to, kind of emulate the soccer model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that's been in discussion for several years now, but also what has been in discussion is player rest as well. So I know you said that would cut the season short, but like you said, what kind of max contract guy is going to want to play for a mid-season tournament when the ultimate goal is to lift the Larry O'Brien at the end of the season? So I don't know.
Larry O'Brien's heavy.
Yeah, come on.
Andy, I know you talked about an interesting concept in the past, having teams play a tournament for the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good idea as long as it's like the bottom 4. I don't think you need to have anybody too close to 500 getting in there and never letting the cellar dwellers out,
Yeah. The idea came about just playing NBA 2K, just doing on my league, and then it had one of those options where you can turn on a tournament for the number 1 pick. And honestly, I think it's kind of a cool concept. I think that would eliminate tanking a little bit because you're playing for a number 1 pick. But like you said, I don't think you can put too many good teams in there. I think whenever I did it, a team that was 500 was in it, and I think a team that's 500 is going to beat a team that's at the bottom of the league. I mean,
I'd say maybe like bottom 4. What do you think? That'd be good.
Bottom 4 from each conference. I'd say.
Oh, see, I was thinking overall.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I just think
bottom 8 overall.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Bottom 8. I thought you meant bottom 8 from each conference. I was thinking, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's like
no, bottom 8 overall, and just like
that could work.
One day tournament.
I also don't know when you can fit in this tournament because you kind of jump right into the draft and free agency right after the finals. So
it should be simultaneous with the NBA playoffs.
Well, then nobody's gonna watch it.
Yeah, nobody's gonna watch it.
But you put it on right before the main game of the night.
I can get down with that.
You're gonna watch the first round of the playoffs. You might as well watch this other game right before.
Or make like a week or 2 break between the regular season and the final, or the regular season and the playoffs, and then do it then. Kind of like the Pro Bowl and
just to fill that space, because a lot of times you're just waiting to watch something.
I'll shoot Adam Silver an email and I'll see his thoughts on the whole thing.
I can't wait to watch the Magic play the Pistons.
You sounded so excited about that. Gosh.
Bring on the Rockets and the Thunder, guys.
Hey, the Thunder are playing better than they should. So
yeah.
Josh Giddey.
Yep.
Giddey killing it.
Yep. Well, we can hold off on the playoff expansion because I want to get into the MLB lockout. I think I'm more of just MLB in general. I think I'm the resident baseball nerd here, so I'll probably have more to say than you guys might. But so we can go ahead and get into that. So,
Mauricio, you know anything about the lockout? I know apparently you've been buddying up to some of the Astros players.
I know everybody in town is like, it's really because in Houston, like the Astros are the biggest deal because they're the most consistent of all our professional teams. So whenever they announced that they're postponing the spring training thing by 2 weeks, everybody was like out of their minds. They're like, no, okay, like when's baseball starting and spring training and all this and that. So it's like it's turning into a big deal here in town because that's also a lot of revenue for a lot of people here in Houston. So the longer it keeps going, it's gonna become a bigger headache for everybody in town.
Yeah. So kind of like Andy said about the NBA, like I'm like that on baseball. I haven't been following it in a while. I'm trying to look in the news as much as I can, but I need to pick it up a bit if we're going to talk about it some. But the main thing I can take away from it is huge shout out to the guy drawing Mike Trout every day until the lockout ends, because that keeps me going. Every morning I check my phone, I see that it gets my day started off right.
Yep.
But
I saw one with ET.
Oh, man, he's so good.
Yeah. If you guys want to go check him out, it's Did It for the Story. I think on all social media. He's got merch. I don't personally know him, so I'm just giving him a shout out in general.
Sounds like you're his agent.
No, I just found him and kind of been following. He's got merch, so if you guys want to go get some,
I need to get some merch.
Yeah.
Even Mike Trout's gotten in on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's recognized it. He's seen him. We know he's seen him.
Yeah.
But back to the nitty gritty of what's going on. I know, and you said that they just agreed to this, the players with the universal DH. I think that's one of the main things I noticed that I could have an opinion on about all this. But I'm kind of on the fence about it because on the one hand, nobody wants to watch a pitcher get up there and hack and look like doo-doo. And then on the other hand, they're baseball players. I mean, it's an overall game, so you have to, do your part in each aspect of the game. So, but I mean, regardless, I think whatever side of the fence you're on, I think we can all hopefully agree that both leagues should have it the same. It shouldn't be AL doing one thing, NL doing the other. But you said they did agree to a university.
Yeah. That's one of the things they have agreed on. One of like 3 different things right now. They've agreed on a universal DH, the implementation of a draft lottery. So I guess kind of like what the NHL and NBA does. And to eliminate the compensatory picks tied to free agents.
How exactly does that work? Do you know?
So it's changed a little bit throughout the years. So it used to go like, say, for example, Carlos Correa is a free agent. He's supposed to be one of the best free agents out there. He would, in the past, he would have been tied to, he would be considered an A-tier player. Mm-hmm. Which would mean that any team that would sign him would get rid of their first round pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and would give it to the Astros.
So it's like an unspoken trade.
Kind of.
Ooh,
kind of like that. It changed to where it started to be like third round picks instead of the first round. And then now with this new thing, it's not going to be tied to anything, which I see benefits for it. And then I see the problem with it because I think it was implemented originally to help teams that don't spend a whole lot of money still be competitive in a way.
Yeah.
Because there is no salary floor in baseball, which I think that's something I would like to see.
Yeah, that seems like it would cause some major problems with an owner trying to be cheap.
Yeah. Well, you've got I think it's the Dolan family, the same family who owns the Knicks,
he's a fan favorite.
Yeah, well, they own the Cleveland Guardians too, and I mean, Cleveland, they shouldn't be trading Francisco Lindor and talking about trading Jose Ramirez and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I think there should be a salary floor because but the Rays are showing that you don't have to spend money to be competitive every year. But I think that's kind of the downside. But what it also does, the compensatory picks, kind of like I mentioned, like, so I'm a Cubs fan. Say if the Cubs want to go sign Carlos Correa, but they don't feel like they're ready to start competing yet, and they could really use that draft pick, then you have a hard decision to make. Do you pay Correa and surrender that draft pick, or do you go and say, well, we prefer the draft pick right now as opposed to competing right away?
Yeah, that makes sense.
As far as the DH, Mauricio, I don't know if you want to get into this. I could talk about this for a while, so we'll have to be the end here, but
Mauricio loves the DH. Nah, he don't care. He don't care about the DH.
So, so I think for me, I'm all for the DH. I think it's something that's needed. I know a lot of people have a lot of baseball traditionalists have a problem with it. I know, Spencer, you mentioned they're baseball players. They should be able to do everything. But see, the thing with that though is that pitchers, I mean, they don't get paid to hit. They get paid to pitch.
So Teohani does.
Well, I mean, he's an anomaly.
I'm just kidding.
But I mean, let's see. I almost want to say Trevor Bauer, but he's not the best example.
Yeah, maybe we don't talk about him.
Yeah. Well, Max Scherzer.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk, Max Scherzer, he just got paid upwards of $40 million to pitch for the Mets. Let's say he goes out and he swings the bat, runs up the bases, blows out his hamstring, and then, I mean, he got hurt doing something that he wasn't paid to do.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect of it that I really hope that is going away now. Also, I'm pretty sure that pitchers don't hit after high school. Like once they get into college, they're not hitting.
I think you're correct. Yeah.
Once they go through the minor leagues, they're not hitting. So it's like you're relearning to hit once you get to the National League, which is ridiculous.
But I love watching Bartolo Colon hit.
You see, that's another thing. People, you got me on one now. But people keep pointing out to the Bartolo Colon home run. He hit one career home run.
Yeah.
I mean, and he hit it at like 40 years old.
I mean, his cuts when his helmet would fall off just make me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, he hit a home run, but he hit one home run. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
A DH is going to hit way more than that, obviously.
Yeah. The DH has been around in the American League since 1973.
But then people are going to argue, too, that not only from the pitcher's side, but from the hitter's side, like, it's a whole game. They should be playing the field as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. But, I mean, also, I think on the other side of that, it extends careers for players.
That it does. That's a good point I didn't even think about.
Nelson Cruz right now, he's playing in his 40s, and he probably wouldn't be playing if the DH wasn't a thing. David Ortiz probably wouldn't have
I was going to say David Ortiz.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's a really good point.
I think there's a lot of benefits for a universal DH, and I think it's a good thing to have.
Well, you, sir, have changed my mind.
Yeah.
I am now for it.
That's what I'm here for.
And that's one thing about baseball that I didn't understand when I first started watching this, like why they made
you care.
Why they made the pitchers, like some pitchers, like bad, right? Like, or because in my mind when I was learning baseball, I thought there was guys that just hit the ball, and then the other guys that that did the pitching and played outfield. I didn't know, like, that they actually made them bad or do this and that. I thought it was just that's your kind of like in football. You're a tight end. That's your job. You're a tight end.
Yeah.
But in baseball, it seems like it's just like.
Man, when I was playing, I wanted the opposite. I wanted to be in the field, and I wanted somebody to hit for me. So y'all could DH me.
Yeah, but I mean, I could keep going on with the DH. I know people have talked about some strategy will be lost, but you're still going to have platoon situations where you want a left-handed batter going against a right-handed pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to run out of time again. Good grief.
Oh, I mean, we've pretty much hit the hour, though.
Yeah.
So,
let's see. A couple more.
I was going to say, do you want to continue talking about the last topic, or do you want to?
I think the last thing we have is the postseason expansion for.
I don't think
it won't take 10 minutes, but
okay.
Just a couple more things about baseball. I think they set an arbitrary deadline of February 28th to see if they could get the season started on time if they don't come to an agreement, which I don't know that that's going to happen. Then the beginning of the season's in jeopardy. Some of the key issues to the current lockout has been largely tied to money. The Players Association wants more money to go to younger players. So an increased minimum salary and pre-arbitration bonus pool. Players don't get to be free agents until they're almost 30 years old. And by that time, you're in the middle of your prime, probably going out of the prime of your career, which has caused issues for service time. I mean, there was an issue with Chris Bryant a few years ago. They waited 12 days to call him up instead of call him up immediately when the season started. And they went to court for that. And, it's just a mess. Getting rid of anti-competitive strategies, which there's a draft lottery.
Yeah, I think that's good. Draft lottery is a good idea for that.
The owners want to expand postseason to 14 teams, which I think we'll get into it in a second. And then they want to further trim the minor league. So I guess a year or two ago, I think Major League Baseball took over the minor leagues as a whole and eliminated some teams. And I think recently they just wanted to make minor league players like a completely separate thing than Major League. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know that I exactly understand it, but it was just kind of a weird situation. So
they don't get paid very well.
No.
So I know that's one of the points of contention.
They I don't know, downgraded or demoted some teams.
Yeah.
To like lower levels, so like they could cut back on money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but those minor league players a lot of them have to play live in host homes get jobs during the year or during the summer. I mean, it's just a mess with the minor league players.
Mascots are cool though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
So the final thing, we've kind of touched on this a little bit here and there, but Spencer, you and I have kind of talked about this on the side, and just the idea of expanding the playoffs across a lot of different leagues. I know both you and I are not in favor of it. Mauricio, I don't know what your standpoint is, but
well, let's clarify. We're not in favor in the pro leagues.
Right.
You know, they just had the disagreement in college football playoff about not expanding. I do think they should expand that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Right.
There.
Right. Yeah, college football playoff definitely needs expansion, but
but not these pro leagues that already have half the league in the playoffs.
Yeah, because we've seen now the NFL's been expanded to 7 teams for each conference the last 2 years, and only one of the games out of the 4 have been competitive.
Yeah, that wild card weekend is pretty rough.
Yeah,
that's bad.
I know Mauricio doesn't mind the playoff expansion, the play-in game in the NBA this year, because the Lakers look like they're probably going to have to play in it to be able to make the playoff.
Were they in the play-in whenever they won it in 2020?
No.
Okay. They were in it last year, I think.
They were in it last year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've won, and then they got
since AD got hurt again. And
yeah, but I mean, it's ridiculous. You got 66% of the teams make the playoffs if you include the play-in scenarios in the NBA. It's so not exclusive anymore. It just waters it down. And I mean, I say this now as the Suns sit atop the West, number 1. If they were the 9th seed, I might be singing a different tune, at least this year. But no, I still think the top 8 from each conference is more than enough. I think if anything, you could reduce it. And we just saw Daryl Morey. He came up with some crazy proposal for wanting. I don't even know. I texted Andy about this. I said it sounds like a guy who doesn't like basketball and doesn't like money. Because he wanted like half a season, one and done,
single elimination tournament.
No.
His reasoning was because the NCAA gets more revenue during March Madness. Oh, I don't know if I can say that. Well,
we already said the Super Bowl.
That's true.
We're done.
Yeah. But yeah, he was comparing the NBA to the March Madness, which I don't understand because there's double the amount of teams in the tournament than there is in the entire NBA league. So
yeah. You got 353 teams in the NCAA. Obviously, you're going to have something a little different.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so much that could happen in a single game. I mean, a couple nights ago, the Celtics just throttled the 76ers. So, I mean, and I know that those two...
Then they got beat by, like, the Pistons or somebody.
Yeah. Like, I know the Celtics and 76ers are probably going to be playoff teams, but at the same time, like...
Yeah. And the 7 games gives the viewer a really good opportunity to see, like, which team's truly the better team, because they get to make adjustments throughout the whole series. So, what might not be working in game 1, they can make an adjustment, see if it works in game 2, and so on. And I've seen some people argue maybe shortening the first round back to 5 games, which that I can understand that a little bit more. I think you could still have an entertaining 5-game series, but to cut it back to 1 game, I think that's ridiculous. And
best of 3.
Well, no, I think that's too few too. I don't
that's too small.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. It just seems like you do a single elimination, you're missing out on so much revenue. People are going to watch. I don't understand.
And revenue is really the driving force because that was the thing with the NFL going to 18 weeks and then adding the wild card round, and then I think that's a big thing with baseball. They're seeing these other leagues say, oh, NBA is getting more revenue for these play-in games. The NFL is getting more revenue for. I don't know. I just think it dilutes the playoffs eventually. Yeah. I mean, how many times are we going to see a lower seeded team beat a higher seeded team, especially whenever the discrepancies a 10 versus a whatever.
1. Yeah,
Yeah.
something
So,
like that.
I mean, it can happen. I mean, in 2020, whenever the MLB had the COVID shortened season, the Marlins beat the Cubs, and the Marlins were not good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can always bring out outliers,
But, right. But
it's I agree. I think I think you're right. I think it's just watered down and it welcomes more blowout games, just makes it less impactful.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I think we covered about everything.
Yep. We went a little longer than an hour, but that's okay.
Hey, it happens.
Yep. Oh well. Anyway, I guess this will go up on YouTube. I'll try and figure out Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever
Sweet.
you get your podcasts. I know
Oh.
every podcast says that, so we'll see about
I
that.
know you're sounding official. We're gonna have a sponsor eventually.
Yep. DraftKings.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But anyway, thanks for kicking it, and I guess we'll hop off here.